And we're back.
Yes, we're back. G. Kelley Dixon.
Loyan Mensah. And I want to apologize up front for that red cup. And I know you see a tea bag, the string for a tea bag sticking out. Please tell me, and I'll obviously leave this in the comments, have you ever seen someone drink hot tea in a red Solo cup? I want to know.
You gotta be a pioneer stuff.
A pioneer of drinking tea out of a red Solo cup.
Yes, 100%. You got to be able to go against the grain.
I've heard that concept before, going against the grain. That's probably going way against the grain.
Yeah. I'm a contrarian.
All right. But scientifically, right? Hot liquid, plastic, doesn't go hand in hand.
They used to think the earth was flat.
Who is they?
Scientists.
From where?
Earth.
What part of Earth?
Who knows, man?
See, I don't know them. That's what they told us in the books.
They told us that AIDS came from gay people.
They told us a lot of things.
And they were wrong.
But I think when it comes to hot liquid in a plastic cup, that one, I think they have that one down. Pretty sure. Just saying.
Oh.
Paper cup, glass cup, even actually a metal cup wouldn't be wise, but not liquid, not plastic. So going forward, man, I'll make sure, man, we will spring for some paper cups, but not plastic. As I learn more about health and things of that nature, I care about you, man. I want to see you live a long time, right? So
is that why you had me taking shots of mushrooms?
Okay. So we're specific, right? Because when you say taking shots of mushroom, people can think a lot of different type of mushrooms, all right?
Yeah.
There's certain mushrooms that are, there's a lot of mushrooms.
You mean like the drug? You mean shrooms?
So when people say shrooms, I believe they're speaking about psilocybin, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you getting technical?
No, that's the one that people will trip on is psilocybin. It's not like portobello mushroom. Or not like shiitake mushroom.
What is...
It's psilocybin.
What does trip mean?
So trip means... So when you go on a trip, which you're going on a trip tomorrow, right? That means you're going from one place to another. You just happen to be physically going on a trip. You get on a plane, you're going to a location.
Yes.
So when you take a drug and you go on a trip, you're not physically going on a trip.
You're just tripping.
So internally... So basically, physically, you're in the same location... But like mentally, probably spiritually, depending on who you speak to, emotionally, absolutely, you go somewhere else. And you may either go forward in time, back in time, or time just doesn't exist anymore.
You are where your mind is.
You are where your mind is.
Yeah.
I could dig that.
Yeah.
You see, it's already working. You see that right there, man? It's already working.
No, it isn't. So he has mushrooms that have you tripping.
No, so the mushrooms that the tincture of mushroom that was it was lion's mane, cordyceps, and it had lion's mane, cordyceps, and I believe it had goji berry in it as well. So goji berry is not a mushroom; it's a berry.
Yeah,
high in vitamin C.
I feel like I'm trading like. All right.
What's up?
Good. Nah, man. As long as genitalia still works, I'm cool. Like,
brother, so lion's mane is actually good for cognitive function, right? So it helps with mental clarity, it helps with focus, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm not a medical professional, but that's what I've read, and that's what I've experienced. And then if you do like,
I just don't like things that affect my sex life,
brother. What are you now? It may help. I see.
So does Viagra, though, right?
But see, now Viagra is obviously man-made, and initially, Viagra wasn't intended for that use. I believe it was intended for people with heart conditions, if I'm not mistaken. But by chance they figured out that it benefits because it's blood flow.
Things, yeah.
But there's natural ways to do that too, man.
Yeah.
Natural. Tiger. Now, some people may not know what Tiger Bone is, but
yeah. My West Indians out there.
Yeah. Tiger Bone roots drink. But yeah, man. So man, you stay tripping though. You stay going to different locations, man.
Business.
Travel to change the forecast.
No, it's business.
They're still traveling to change the forecast.
Yeah, it's not always a better forecast though.
Your financial forecast.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a fact.
See how it's working already? So I'm saying like it's already in the system.
Hey, get us the rappers, man.
Now, I got bars for days, man.
Yeah.
In my former life, I was not a rapper. You know, sometimes people say.
I was speaking to somebody. That's actually a bucket list. I always wanted to record a song. Not to say I
singing,
have like,
rapping.
No, I can't sing for nothing. I would rap.
You cannot sing, or you don't know how to sing well.
Both.
I think this is, so you would. All right. So, what would be your rap name? If you came out with a rap album, what would be your rap name?
I gotta listen. People, shout out to Hempstead High School. Everybody at Hempstead High School, they know. I had a song that went platinum at Hempstead High School. It didn't leave the high school, but it went platinum.
Platinum.
Yeah.
In your school.
In my school, 100%.
You want to elaborate on that?
Like if you knew, you knew. Yeah, we used to shut it down. Shout out to my boy Ob.
Shout out to Ob, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ob.
Yeah, Ob's a good dude, man.
So you had you had a song and you had like the beat and everything together. So you had the lyrics and the beat. You had the
Nah. So Ob used to come in, he used to do the demo, and I used to come over on the track
and spit bars, fire.
It was a 3-minute song, and I probably 2 minutes, but it went double platinum. People
double platinum
to this day.
So shout out to everyone who graduated or actually went to Hempstead High School, because probably everybody didn't graduate. So went to Hempstead High School whenever that time period was.
He's throwing shots.
What? I can't assume that everybody graduated from high school. A lot of people don't graduate from high school.
Unfortunately, Hempstead is one of the issues.
See? But I mean, a lot of schools were. I didn't know coming up that, but yeah, my school may have had like 85% or 90%, probably higher. I wasn't in the top of my school. I was like a
85% that didn't graduate.
That did, or higher. When I was in high school, my high school was a top high school.
Yeah. I guess you had a better high school than I did.
But it probably was higher. It was probably like in the 90s. It was like a big deal.
This saddens me to say this,
graduate.
But my high school has a 32% graduation rate.
Damn.
I think it fluctuates, but I think it may be at 40 now.
I always thought that they push you through school, though.
What's that?
As in, like, they push you through the grades. No? Am I missing something?
If you can play sports, yes.
If you can play sports, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or you just need a 65, though. In New York City, you needed a 65.
Same thing.
New York State.
Same thing.
65. That's like a D plus.
But you had to actually go.
Fair. You know I had perfect attendance in high school? Perfect attendance. I'm proud of that.
I can't say the same.
I'm proud of that. I had perfect attendance. As in, throughout my 4 years, and man, that's a big deal. Throughout my 4 years, I always went to school. I never missed a day.
Good for you, man.
But here's the thing. Strategically, right? Because technically, all you had to do, so I always knew how to hack a system, right? From a young age. All you had to do was make it to your homeroom. Because if you make it to your homeroom, that's when they take attendance. So you can go to homeroom, which is third period, I believe, my sophomore year on. As long as you made it to homeroom, you can go to homeroom and then leave school. But you still marked as present for the day.
Oh. Okay.
But I still had perfect attendance. That means I was there. Perfect attendance, man.
I'm not even going to go into that, man.
You missed a couple of days?
Say the least bit. My high school career wasn't like yours. I went to high school, said I could play football, I'm going to college. And
books were like secondary to
Unfortunately.
So when did you? Because I know when I read my first book in its entirety. All right. When was the first time you actually read a book, but read the entire book?
I read a book in elementary school.
The entire book?
Yeah, it was called. It wasn't a thick book, but I had to read a book. It was actually the name of this book. The first book, and I don't know who the author was, but I remember the book. It was a book called, and I'm not talking about like you kids and somebody reads to you. I'm talking about when you actually read
pick
it.
up the book. Yeah.
It was a book called Skinny Bones.
Skinny boned.
Skinny Bones.
Skinny bones.
Yes.
As in Bones.
Yes.
Skinny bones.
Yeah.
You chose that book?
I believe so.
And what grade were you in?
Maybe third, fourth.
So 8 years old, 9 years old, you read your first book.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. If you want to say that. It was the only book that I actually I picked up and liked at the time.
I respect that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I had to do a book report.
See, I learned how to hack from a Cliff Notes.
But no, this is a book that I actually liked. It was the only book because I didn't read a book until a full book until I was in college.
Even better. See, you better. It's interesting how obviously education is different for different people. Obviously, high school you sort of missed some days, to say the least. My first official book that I actually picked up myself consciously and read in its entirety was after I graduated college. The month after I graduated college.
What was that?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Great book.
Fantastic. Like that was literally the first book.
I read that book. I finished that book in about 24 hours.
I didn't finish it that fast, but I've read the book.
No, I picked up the book, I want to say a Friday morning, early afternoon, and just read it straight through. I think I dropped the book. I read it through to about, I had breaks or whatever, but I think I stayed up to about like 2, 3 in the morning reading the book. I went to sleep, woke up, finished the book. And my mind was like, let's go.
So was that the book? Would you say that was the point in your life where you're like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur? Or was it another?
I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. In hindsight, I was always an entrepreneur.
Respect it.
Like, my aunt, and God bless her soul, she was, she kind of taught me business young. I used to go around the project building and collect the bottles and cans and go cash that in order to, and that was the business. So she and in her own way, she taught me how to count inventory, how many bottles you got, all right, how much money you supposed to get, how to save. All right, take this. This is for you. Go get your little candy bar, whatever the case may be. Put this away, and it became like a little business. Don't get me wrong. She collected the bottles too and used the money.
So she did it out of need and necessity versus like you were just doing it just to.
Yeah, I mean she looked out for me. I didn't know she was poor back then. I just thought she lived in a building. I didn't know she was poor. But it taught me a lot. And then obviously, I mean, that was in Lower East Side, so it's a lot quicker than Long Island. Yeah.
Well, you were in it. So it wasn't just like Long Island. You were yes,
Brooklyn, like Bed-Stuy, East New York.
I think it's interesting that the people who, when they were children, either remember or even if they don't remember, but they did things outside, I guess, the norm of what children normally do. It translates to entrepreneurship. Right. When I was 11, my first job was at 11, sweeping the floors at a barbershop.
Yeah.
Right. And I vividly remember going in there. One of my classmates in elementary school, her dad owned the barbershop, and I had to go pitch him on why I would be a good sweeper, like the kid that brushes the. I gave him my first job, and then 12, I was going from the South Bronx to North Bronx to pack bags at Pathmark in Co-op City.
That's interesting.
And that was Saturday. That was literally Saturday from like 9 o'clock in the morning to like 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening. I would clear like $40, $50 some days.
Yeah.
Just for we only did it on a Saturday, but at 12 years old, $50. That's some good money.
Yeah. Like Long Island was different because we shovel snow. That was a big thing.
We did that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you would go into like the wealthier neighborhoods, or you guys would just do it anyway. I guess Long Island is.
You got driveways, so it's like, yeah.
We have concrete, right? I mean, technically driveways are concrete, whatever. But we would strategically go to the best neighborhoods to shovel snow.
Nah, it makes sense
because you got the most
biggest bang for the buck.
Man,
we did that as well. Don't get me wrong, because but the bigger the driveway, I mean, we used to make a lot more money. But my first, I mean, outside of, I had a paper route at 12.
You had a paper route?
Yeah.
As in, like, you rode a bike and you threw the paper. Like, how did you guys do paper routes?
Yeah, like I literally walk. Like I had like 2 or 3 blocks, and I had the bag over me. I'd ride a bike too, but I had a bag and I just throw out papers. The crazy thing is that the company, they charged me for the papers wholesale, and then I would give them the papers and I would basically get the retail from the people. So
you had a business.
Yeah, so they would charge me, I believe, for 30 cents. And I would maybe charge 50 cents. I mean, the numbers are off, but that's the gist. And I had to collect. And the interesting thing is that they didn't. I had to pay them regardless whether I collect or didn't.
See, things like that are so important. I believe the people who have experience like that growing up sometimes make the best entrepreneurs. Not all the time, but
yeah, it's that desire to, like, the real question is, why did you want the money? Because we didn't do it just for the experience. Why did you want the money?
That's real. See, I knew if I wanted, I've seen my mother work 2 jobs for as long as I've known, right? From like age 6 to like age 22, 21, or 23. If I wanted anything outside of the necessities, right, food and shelter, and because I had hand-me-downs, I have an older brother, I had to work. Like if I wanted to, like I had to create the money to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying to say I was like deprived or anything like that, but there's a level of freedom with having money,
100%.
even as a child. Yeah,
you have choice.
Yeah,
money provides you more choices.
Yeah, 100%.
So So how does that translate, in your opinion, to, like, obviously fast forward individuals who have a job? Obviously, when you have a job, you start earning more money.
Yeah.
But the difference between that and the individuals that say, you know what, I want to create my own.
I think for me, and people may think of anything. I know there was a time that I realized that I'm not the most polished. You know, I'm not. I work on my speech. Like I can speak well enough. I can present, do what have you. But there's people that it comes more naturally for. Like I have to like really concentrate and work to actually speak. But it doesn't necessarily reflect. It doesn't mean I'm not as smart, and I'm even smarter in some cases. It just means that some people have a gift for words. Like I'm good with numbers. Like you give me a number, like I remember what our tab is for lunch. You know, like I remember what the tip fee is. Numbers just stick in my head. So I never had that with words. So, long story short, like I didn't feel like I was gonna get a fair shake in the corporate realm. I didn't think that my talent was gonna be recognized, and I've built that, coming up from my mother as a child having to go to the school to fight for my grades, and you got kids that are doing basically the same work but getting better grades, all the way up to I remember me restarting an organization in college. So I did all the legwork, and we had to vote for officers, and I didn't get elected president. Somebody else got elected president, and the professor that was backing the organization and the person that got elected president both was like, nah, I don't think this is right. I think this y'all should be president. And I ended up being president by default. But that lesson kind of taught me it's not about the work, it's about the perception. And
say that it's not about the work, it's about the perception.
Yeah. Like most jobs don't know you well enough to really to interview you, in the interview. So the person that interviews the best is going to get the job, not the best person.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
The on the job, the person that sounds the best, people automatically assume that they're smarter. It's just if somebody sounds like they know what they're talking about, people just tend to believe them. So at certain positions, I said, well, I'm probably going to get overlooked. And even when I got out of college, the people that I was helping get through the MBA classes, those were the ones that were getting jobs before I did. So in my head, in my position, I already knew. And then obviously my mother was in the corporate, and I see it here, the stories that she had. I just knew that I'm not going to get a fair shake. And but I'm not going to be something I'm not, and I'm cool with that. Like there's people I work with that respect the talent. There's other people that, believe it or not, label me as a thug. And you get the honesty comes out at the when people are drunk at the Christmas party.
Man, a lot of things happen at the Christmas parties, man.
Yeah. So
or the holiday parties.
Yeah. So I think I always knew that. I always had a parachute in the corporate world. I always knew that I'm gonna push as far as I can go, and as soon as I get that resistance, then I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm going there to learn, though. I'm not necessarily going there for money.
That's real. And then because I'm like, so at what point? Because I know for me with jobs, or my first job, even obviously when we had the first company.
That was your first job?
That was my first company I worked for.
But that was the like, you never had a job before that? That
was my first job out of college.
Okay.
I was working since I was 11 years old. I've always since 11 on, I was always like from summer.
Yeah, but
youth.
I mean like on the books, like
summer youth was the first.
Okay.
On the books job that was at, I think you started summer youth at 14, 15 in New York City, whatever it was. I was summer youth. That was the first on the books. Yeah. I wasn't some random on the books job. Yeah, man. And then but my first professional job out of college was the same firm I worked for when obviously we met. And after a while, I realized even at that job, every job I've ever had, it became easy. Every job, I've always found a way to coast in any job. That's why even it was tough to leave my last position, obviously when I went full time as an entrepreneur, because they were paying me a lot of money, and I was coasting a bit. Now, my coasting was still better than other people's full performance, if you will. But there's nothing like, as an entrepreneur, there's nothing like creating something, man. Like Like that part, like it's scary-ish, but there's something.
Can you talk about that though? That like the coasting part, like, is because most people would be like, you're good, and that's where they want to be.
Mhm.
I'm at a job. I'm good. I'm making my money. I'm coasting. That's their ideal position. But for somebody like you, it wasn't.
Nah.
It wasn't enough. What was missing?
Me. I knew I wasn't living. I was existing. It was just.
It wasn't fulfilling.
It wasn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
And most positions I've ever had, the person who was either my director or mentor, they knew. They when I was leaving accounting to go to that jump from although great accounting firm, that jump to go from that accounting firm to work for top 2 investment bank in the world, that doesn't happen. And I really want to do like the deep that doesn't happen. Now it happened because obviously the bridge was Englestone, right? But even when I gave my 2 weeks, and I was speaking to the partner of the firm, and I shared with him that I was transitioning, where I was going, what have you. He was like, "Man, I'm not surprised." Right? He knew that there was more for me. He knew.
That's interesting. Because I think that people, you know what, people recognize that. I realize in hindsight that people see things in us when we were young that we didn't necessarily see
Absolutely
in ourselves.
100%.
You know, because I remember graduation day from college.
Mhm.
Now I end up getting my MBA
Mhm.
and my bachelor's. Roughly, I had the ceremony, but I got both degrees at the 5th year. And I remember my economics professor coming up to me and says, "Yeah, don't forget about us when you make your first million."
Mm.
And
You just laughed it off.
I laughed it off because I thought he was playing, but in hindsight, I look back, he was serious.
Mm.
Like he, you know what I'm saying? Like he was 100% serious. And in hindsight, like you know, there's a lot of stuff I did at college that was very entrepreneurial minded.
Mm.
Like
we all have a couple of those.
So
all legal.
Well, you know,
all legal.
Yeah. Now I remember, and I hope I didn't tarnish anybody's name by this, you know. But I mean, we went to school in like I went to school in West Virginia, so there's like nothing in West Virginia. Right?
Literally, I've never been there, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that realize that they don't even know that state exists. Like when you say crazy. West Virginia, they go, "Oh, the west side of Virginia." No, the other state. Like
that's crazy though.
No, it's true though. So we used to go to other colleges. And, you know, parties weren't great, but you know, we made this college. We make it happen. So we go to other colleges and give out flyers, and we say, you know, big name DJs. I'm not gonna say who come into here. You know, come in. Right, you know, yeah. So like false advertising like crazy. So
that's hilarious.
So obviously everything's spread out in West Virginia. So the people they drove, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour to get to the school. So there's no DJ coming out, but a lot of people here now, and the party's live. So everybody stayed, and that's how we made money. But I knew if I could get them to the school,
they're gonna be there.
They're gonna stay here and enjoy themselves.
You gotta figure something.
And this is before social media, obviously. This is like, I mean, I think we had MySpace and Black Planet,
and Mi Gente. There's Mi Gente too.
I never knew about it.
Mi Gente. Because Black Planet was obviously Black Planet, mi gente, my people in Spanish.
But that fulfillment part is very big.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I think as an entrepreneur, when you're stuck in a position that's not fulfilling, it's damaging, because we're not geared to coast. We're geared to live abundant and push the edge. You know, there's a thrill in pushing to see how far you can go. You know, I think that's what makes life exciting. And if somebody says you're here, you're stuck here, you're not gonna go down, but you're not gonna go up. You're just stuck in this box, and you're kind of coasting. There's no thrill in that.
Some people's dreams, in my opinion, have either directly or indirectly have a price tag, right? Because they may be those individuals that are supposed to soar, supposed to fly, but because of the fact that a company may pay them, let's say $200,000 a year, or $300,000 a year, or even $100,000 a year, they are willing to accept, stay, justify, versus actually step out and do something.
You know, when you're making that type of money, you know, and we got accustomed to
a certain lifestyle.
The same way.
It's different.
Yeah, a lot of times it's damaging. You know,
now damaging from what standpoint? What do you mean?
It's once you've been spoiled, it's hard to go backwards.
Fair.
You know, it's like losing money is worse than never having it, in a sense. You know?
Depending on the person, right? Because even when you just said it's tough to go backwards. Interestingly enough, when I left my job in 2015, officially, that year, I technically made less money than I made the year before, but to me, I went forward. And then the following year, like when I got my bearings together, because even as an entrepreneur, you need some structure, right? So once I hit the stride with the structure, the following year, so my full year as an entrepreneur, my first full year as an entrepreneur, I made more in that year than I've ever made at any company.
I wasn't so lucky.
Everybody did. But that first year, 2015, between working too much and being hospitalized to all my savings going, I was flatlined in terms of financially. But it was a thrill.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? And in a weird way, it's like, man, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
So you know what? In college, so when I got out of school, I turned down Walmart corporate offered me a job, and a trucking company. And
why'd you say
no? Logistics, because I had my daughter at the time, and I didn't want to, be too far. So rather than get a job that's close, started a company. So Englestone is birthed actually from a company, Idacon.
Idacon?
Shout out to my boys. Yeah.
Idacon?
It was a marketing company, so it stood for Ideas and Concepts.
Oh,
and
I like that.
Yeah, so we had we had some clients, and a lot of that was my big learning experience as far as entrepreneurship, and fully, understanding like a lot of how this thing moves, how this thing works. Because the problem is that most people don't, there's so many moving parts. And the one piece about a job is that you get caught up. Most people in the job, they focus more so on looking the part, and they don't necessarily focus on what really matters. And in entrepreneurship, you got to really fully understand what really matters every second of the day. Like, what's the most important allocation of your time every single day?
Yeah.
Because you don't have that. You don't have somebody telling you that. You have to know that.
That's a huge difference, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what that experience helped me to kind of fully to learn what was really important. Because we did a lot of stuff, but the cash register wasn't ringing. And that's the piece was just like, I mean, we had the website, we had the logo, we looked like a business.
It was set up then.
Yeah, I mean, we had the business cards, like we looked like but it wasn't ringing. So I tell people, I say, do you want to look like a business or you want to be a business? And people go, well, what's the difference? Being a business is the cash register rings. Like the website, all that other stuff is nice. And I mean, I get it. We're in the 21st century, so yeah, you want all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about making money. Yeah. So the thing you should be doing is, I said, draw a line where you're at, and draw a line to the cash register ringing, and draw the straight line, and that's what you should be doing first, 100%. And now once you've mastered that, then you can start putting other pieces together. But the website don't mean anything if you can't make no money.
That's real.
Unless it's making you money.
Big one, man. Because you speak about working in your business or on your business, and people say, "Hey, which one is important?" And granted, both of them are important. Yeah. But just the psychology behind the straight line from where you are to generating income, and because the income is what's going to income cash flow is what's going to sustain everything else.
Yeah. The thing is that you have to separate your business from a hobby, and businesses have to make money. They have if your business can't support you, or you're not fully engulfed in it with the intention of it supporting you, you're not fully in business yet. And that's cool. If you want to, you can build up to that point, but you got to be real and understand what direction it's going in. Yeah. Because you got to find a way to turn a profit. Yeah. And then if you're really being honest with yourself, you need to understand, all right, what's coming in, what's going out, and all right, what is working, what's not, and what's going to make me money.